Hello everyone, this is Atomic and this is Cyberpunk Talk. Cyberpunk 2077 is officially in the making, but we still don't know much about it. We know it's going to be an open world action RPG and that it's going to be bigger than The Witcher 3, but we know little about the specifics like the characters, the story and the setting. Or maybe we know something, or at least we can speculate about possible setting, the where, the when, and the what. The where seems easy. It's going to be Night City. According to Pen and Paper Game, it is a fictional metropolis in California, somewhere between San Francisco and Los Angeles. Night City was an original setting for pen and paper game Cyberpunk 2020, so it's probably obvious that it will be a setting for 2077 game. Night City is a big place. 5 million people live there and it is one of the most important cities on the US Western Seaboard. The city is run by the corporations and the ruling body is the Corporate Council. The council consists of the representatives from 10 biggest corporations that are present in the city. The streets, however, are run by gangs and criminal syndicates and organizations, and it's probably there where most of the game will take place. The police force in the city is small, underfunded and brutal, and in many instances is replaced by corporate security. Night City may not be the best place to live in 2077, but it is sure a good setting for a computer role-playing game. It seems easy, and for the most part it is easy. The when is the year 2077, as simple as that. But when also means the timeline, series of events that leads to the year 2077. The question is when does it start, and even bigger question is what does it look like? My guess is that the writers for Cyberpunk 2077 are going to use more or less the same timeline used in Cyberpunk 2020 pen and paper game. Why? Because it's already there, the players know it, and it gives a lot of ideas for the game story. Of course, a lot in this timeline has to be changed or altered, like when does it start? It can't start as the original timeline in 1990 because the writers will have to fill a huge gap between the end of the timeline in 2020s and the start of the Cyberpunk 2077 game in the year 2077. I think the writers will heavily modify the timeline and shift it forward to start somewhere around 2020 or 2030. Why? Because the original game was released in 1988 and its timeline started in 1990, so it is now obsolete as we have 2070 now. But modifying the timeline and moving it forward some 20, 30 or 40 years into the future will, I think, do the trick. I believe that this timeline will start somewhere around 2020 or 2030. It will give the writers some 40, 50 years to speculate about the possible futures and build the world of Cyberpunk 2077. And using the original timeline from Cyberpunk 2020 will give them a lot of stuff to work on. What I'm completely sure is that the game will not be set 50 years after the Cyberpunk 2020. There are some details that suggest that I'm right. For example, the trailer mentions Commissioner Hammerman, who in Cyberpunk 2020 was the commanding officer of MaxTac or Psycho Squad. So if the Cyberpunk 2077 is taking place 50 years after Cyberpunk 2020, this guy would be something around 100 years old. And there is also the fourth corporate war. The conflict that seems to be quite important in the Cyberpunk 2077 storyline. And in the original pen and paper game, that conflict ended in 2024. So it would mean that nothing really interesting happened in the world of 2077, with the possible exception of the Hammerman's immortality. The story of the game will be probably connected to the event of the Fourth Corporate War, the conflict between the most powerful corporations in the cyberpunk world. The war involved Arasaka, Militech and other powerful corporations, as well as many other players like US government and space agency. It was basically the Third World War and led to the fall of economical, political and social system of the world in Cyberpunk 2020. As in pen and paper game, the conflict basically destroyed the world, so in 2077 it has to be scaled down a little. And it probably won't be as devastating as in pen and paper, and probably like in pen and paper, it will be undecided. As for the story, my guess is that the player characters will be some way involved in the power struggle between corporations, governments and other organizations, the street, the police, the criminal syndicates, etc., etc. The actual story remains a mystery, but the developers said that it is up to the players how they will be involved in the story. All we can say for sure is that it is the CD Projekt Red, so the story won't be black and white, and probably it will be the choice between one lesser evil and the other. So, that's all of my predictions for now. We will see for sure in 2077. Thank you for watching. If you liked this video, please like and subscribe for more. This was Atomic and you were watching the Cyberpunk Talk.